Good afternoon. How y'all doing? Well, there's been a lot of people in the Capitol today, and of course, there's still a lot of people in the Capitol now. I just want to thank y'all for being here. This is kind of a multi-purpose press conference today. We're going to talk about literacy, and we're going to talk about literacy, and we're going to talk about literacy. Okay? And so, first of all, I would like to introduce you to Representative Bethy Ballard, who is the mother of House Bill 538, the Georgia Early Literacy Act, and she's going to talk a little bit about that, and then I'm going to turn it over to Senator Clint Dixon to talk about Senate Bill 464, and then I'm going to talk about our amendment to that bill, and then Mr. Scott Johnson, who is chairman of Georgia Council on Literacy, will talk about the council's involvement in this. So, Representative Ballard.
Thank you. In the last legislative session, I was proud to sponsor House Bill 538, the Georgia Early Literacy Act, which mandates that schools use a literacy curriculum that's aligned with the science of reading and structured literacy. And this requires a return to the foundational principles of literacy that are evidence-based and have been proven to work to teach our kids to read. To do this, one of the things we need to do is be able to identify these struggling readers early in their school careers so that they can get intensive instruction in order to be proficient by the end of third grade. Because by the end of third grade, statistics tell us that is when students need to be proficient so that they have success in later life. If they don't have proficiency by third grade, statistics show they will not be successful. What this means is we have to have quality assessment tools. We have to have assessment tools that measure what we want them to measure, and that tools that give us accurate data for comparison within our districts and across our districts to make sure our children are learning what they need to learn. Our state's teachers are very excited about House Bill 538. I hear them, they come up to me at home, they're so excited. But what they need is our support. They deserve the very best tools to help them serve their students well. And I look forward to working with all of our literacy partners across the state to make sure this happens for our children. Thank you.
Good afternoon, everyone. Thank you all for coming. Today, my message is that status quo in education is no longer acceptable. All of us should be concerned when we look at the recent published CCRPI data that was provided by the Georgia Policy Foundation. Our scores here in Georgia, on an average, elementary schools are scoring at 75.9%, which is a 5% decline since 2019. Furthermore, middle schools are scoring at 70.8%, which is an 8% decline since that same year. High schools are scoring at an average of 73.5%, which is a 6.8% decline since 2019. Looking at all the scores, only 26.6% of our schools are scoring above an 80% average. Meanwhile, spending per pupil has increased by 27.5% since that same year. When my children come home with a grade that's a C or below, I'm concerned. My wife is very concerned, and we make sure that we do things differently. Today, we're continuing to send a message that we expect the Department of Education and our school systems to do things differently. We continue. Literacy is one of the Georgia General Assembly's primary priorities and has been for 2 years now. Before I hand it over to Senator Hickman, I want to speak directly to the importance of K through 3 screeners, and let me express why I think this is critical to have the best quality screeners that we can possibly have here in Georgia. If you look at House Bill 538, the most important purpose is the screeners providing the information to parents starting in kindergarten, because we all know early detection with literacy issues or any learning issue with a child, the earlier we catch it, the quicker and easier we can have that child recover from that issue. And we must not forget the important role of parents, and this empowers parents to understand where their kids are. I believe in school choice, as many of you know, and our parents need to be informed if their children are getting the support that they need and make sure that they're staying on grade level with reading. And with that, I'd like to call my dear friend Senator Hickman up next. Thank you.
Thank you, Senator Dixon. After Senator Dixon passed the House Bill, Senate Bill 464, or before he passed it, I went to him with a friendly amendment concerning the screeners. We felt like it was very important that we are able to measure Chatham County against Gwinnett County, against Fulton County, against Forsyth County, all across the state. Very important to have one universal screener that all schools in the state of Georgia use. Now, they can use other screeners in addition to that, but it's very important that every school get measured against every school. So we took this thing very seriously. The president of the council, Scott Johnson, and I talked about this a good bit. He and I got an amendment drafted, and we'll go over that in a minute or two. But before we did that, I went and talked to several of our senators. Senator Tillery was one of them I talked to. I let him read the amendment. He was satisfied with it. Senator Dixon, I let him read it. He was satisfied with it. I went to the Lieutenant Governor's office and let them read it, and they were satisfied with it. I don't think we can forget that in 2010, our children were reading on a higher grade level in 2010 than they were in 2019, and then we had the pandemic. We can't take this stuff lightly, people. This is not a marathon. This is a 100-yard dash, and we got to take it serious, and we got to move fast. As Representative Ballard said many times, this is a matter of national security. If our students and children can't read, they can't protect us. That's why Senate Bill 211 came about and House Bill 538 came about. We want every school to use the same free screener. So let me talk a little bit about how we did this. So this amendment that I sponsored, Senator Dixon signed it, Senator Tillery signed it, several other members of the Senate signed it. This amendment addresses issues that have arisen around universal screeners. Now keep in mind, if you don't know what a screener is basically a test. So don't get screener confused with something else. That's a test. Having multiple universal screeners makes it impossible to compare data from school system to school system. This amendment remedies this problem by requiring that all school systems use the free of charge universal screener. Systems, as I stated earlier, systems may use a different screener for other reasons, but we want every school system to use the same universal screener. We know that DOE is developing a free screener. However, the screener will not be operational, as we were told, until August of 2024. And as Representative Ballard told you, that's basically when school starts, and her bill requires children be tested about that time. We also do not know the reliability. If a screener is being developed right now, we don't know the reliability of that screener. We don't know it's going to be beta tested, all that kind of stuff. You know, I'm an accountant, CPA. We never develop our own software in today's world. We depend on other people that have developed software that have been tested and retested before we use it. We also know that a free screener is being developed by a company by the name of DRC, and from our understanding, DRC has never developed a screener in the past. So as the background, 538 required the State Board of Education to publish a list of qualified screeners. Initially, the board provided 16 screeners, and then we asked the council asked the Deal Center to do a psychometric analysis of these screeners, 16 screeners, and they basically graded these screeners from best to worst. Subsequently, after that, the State Department of Education came in and eliminated 3 of those screeners, so now it's down to 13. So what we've got, if we don't drop this amendment and get this thing through the House and Governor signs it, there'll be 13 different screeners used in the state of Georgia by all these different school systems. There's no way of comparability when you're doing this. So the state board dropped it down to 3, House Bill 538 requires the DOE to provide a free screener by August 1. That's in the bill, August 1, 2024, the same day that schools and districts must begin screening students. Our great governor, Brian Kemp, provided over $5 million in the budget. I've seen it in the budget. $5 million in the budget is recommended for the DOE to provide a free universal screener. The free screener is not guaranteed to be available until August 1, 24 by the DOE, and it's not tested. Additionally, this screener being developed has not been evaluated for effectiveness. I have taught in the Senate. We've got Senator Tillery's on the council, Senator Dixon's on the council, Senator Esterby's on the council, Senator Sims is on the council, and myself, and I talked to all these senators on this before I dropped this amendment. And they believe that the state should invest in a known commodity screener that has been analyzed for effectiveness, and one that is on the state contract winds up being cheaper. We've done analysis on it. The screeners that the DOE Center have analyzed is actually could be very much cheaper than what the DOE is having developed. We believe the early estimates of the top 5 screeners analyzed by the DOE Center will produce a contract that is significantly less than the one being developed by DRC. You know, we always look at other states and see how we're doing, and you know, I hate to say this, but I shouldn't say this, but all y'all know we are now looking at how Mississippi did their literacy program. Mississippi initiated a literacy program years ago. We just did it last year. But along with that, we know that North Carolina, a sister state up this way from us, uses one screener for all schools to test all children. One screener. And I think some people have told me Florida does the same thing. So let me tell you a little bit about the amendment. The amendment's not very long. So it has the definitions are included in the standard DOE Center and the Council of Literacy. By May 15, 2024, the State Board of Education shall approve the memorandum of agreement between the Council and the Georgia DOE for a free universal reading screener for use by public schools and local school systems and part of their comprehensive literacy programs, which meet the criteria of House Bill 538. By June 1, 24, now keep in mind, some people have got freaky on this, but we're talking about screeners that have already been developed and tested. So by June 1, 24, the DOE shall publish on its public website the free universal reading screener provided by the Georgia Department of Education that each public school and local school system shall adopt and administer in order to comply with the requirements of the Early Literacy Act. Please remember that I said one universal screener for all schools, and then if schools want to use another screener, they can do that. But it's one universal screener for all schools. Also, the council in collaboration, the council in collaboration with the DOE Center, the Office of Planning and Budget, shall identify a universal reading screener that meets the criteria established by the State Board of Education as provided by the Georgia Early Literacy Act. The council, and that's the Georgia Council of Literacy, shall enter into a memorandum agreement with the DOE to make such universal reading screener available for use free of charge to public schools and local school systems. So in this bill, it's got a provision in this amendment that the screener that will be recommended will be in collaboration with the DOE Center, OPB, and the Georgia Council on Literacy. And this amendment will be effective upon the governor's signature. So I'm going to now turn it over to Mr. Scott Johnson, who is our chairman of our Georgia Council on Literacy.
Thank you, Senator Hickman, and thank you, Senator Dixon, for Senate Bill 464, which an important part of that says we're going to support our teachers. And the dollars they spend to support their classroom, we're not expecting for them to suck it up out of their own pocket, but the state is going to support them for that. And thank you for that. You know, we should do nothing less as Georgians in supporting teachers. When I had the honor of chairing the State Board of Education, I opened my meetings by saying two things. One, teachers are my heroes, and I mean that. And none of us would be doing what we're doing today if it weren't for great teachers in our lives. But I also said one more thing. It's all about the kids. It's all about the students. That's why that's why teachers are in the classrooms. That's why you're gathered here today. And that's why last year, the General Assembly passed two bills, Senate Bill 211 and House Bill 538, the Georgia Early Literacy Act, that ensure that we're not going to keep doing what we've been doing on literacy because we haven't changed our trajectory in a decade. So I have the honor of chairing the Georgia Council on Literacy with 30, a total of 30 outstanding people on that council, and a whole lot more folks giving input to the work that we do. Now, when it comes to the Senate Bill 464 and the amendment that addresses the screeners, here's what I think is important. One, it doesn't supplant local control because districts can still use other screeners. If you want to use multiple screeners, that's fine. If a district has a contractor wants to create make a contract, they can continue to do that. But it would provide one free screener statewide for portability, for comparison. So we'll know. So the General Assembly can know if what they gave us, the Georgians, the ball to do is being effective. That's very important. It's our tax dollars. And secondly, it's for informing parents. And parents need to know where their child is. It's no longer, we've all heard the stories about, Johnny or Jane is not reading like they should be, but don't worry, we think they'll pick it up. We get data to inform those decisions. That's what we need, and that's what we will have. And another important part of it is the fact that this free screener would be available to every district in the state and would be uniformly used throughout the state. So if a child is in one district this year and another district next year, we can compare those results. We can compare progress. And that's important information for parents to be aware of. And that free screener that would be determined now under this amendment by the Georgia Council on Literacy in conjunction with the Deal Center on literacy, on early learning, and OPB would be formative. It would address dyslexia and literacy. So it'd be universally applicable. We need that. And let me tell you a story about just before I walked up here, a testing director for a school district in Georgia called me and said, Scott, we're worried because we got to train folks on if there's a screener we're required to use, or if it's available, we need to be able to train our people. We need to be able to do that. And I said, if this amendment passes and we're able to see this, then we're not going to wait until August, because another option appears to be, or the plan currently appears to be, we're going to from what we're told, we'll deliver the free screener in August, and it's not tested, it's not tried, we don't know what the psychometrics of this test is. That's not a good decision when you've got other options. We have other options. We have screeners that are deliverable immediately. They have been through psychometric testing. They've existed, so they've been perfected, and Georgia can provide those at a cost, I believe, even less than the $5.2 million that is allotted for them. We need to make good decisions. We need to support our teachers with an early delivery of that so they can be trained and support our districts. I'm about supporting our teachers and our districts. But I'm not about bureaucrats making decisions that aren't in the best interest of our teachers and our districts and our citizens. And I'm serious about the fact that we need to pass this amendment as part of this bill. I support it, and I hope you will too. Thank you, and Senator, it's yours.
Well, I think y'all understand our passion, and I think you understand our concern, and we appreciate y'all being here, and we will end the press conference. Thank you.